You know, this is kind of a scandal that's staring everyone, that everyone knows about Washington, D.C., but no one wants to talk about because Ilhan Omar is a protected person because of her politics, and she hides behind her victimhood status to prevent any questioning of her ethics. So if you raise questions about her ethics, she plays the race card and the religion card to distract from these reasonable questions about her ethics. Now, Judicial Watch bravely filed an ethics complaint against Ilhan Omar. And I say bravely because I knew, and we know, when we file complaints like this, we're going to get attacked. We're going to get attacked for asking for a basic ethics investigation about publicly available information that raises questions about whether she married her brother and about whether she engaged as a result in immigration, tax fraud, student loan fraud, obviously marriage fraud, and who knows what else. Now, the House Ethics Committee is split half and half, right down the middle, Republicans and Democrats. That's normally not how committees are run in the House. The majority has the majority of seats, but the Ethics Committee is a mutually assured destruction committee, meaning each side can't do anything without the other going ballistic. So unless the Democrats want to pursue this, and my guess is the Republicans don't want to pursue this either, at least the Republican leadership, and it won't be pursued. So how do you change that? You change that by communicating with your House members. You let them know that you want this ethics complaint investigated. And but this believe it or not, this marriage fraud issue, which by the way was given more evidentiary weight this week when Ilhan Omar deleted a tweet that named her father as another name other than what is supposed to be her name. I don't have the name in front of me, but she said something about my father, and the last name is the same as the name of the brother, further confirming that she may have married her brother. Incredible. But it doesn't end there, because there were allegations made in a divorce filing that were, I think, first reported by the New York Post, that Ilhan Omar may have used in campaign funds improperly to take care of an alleged paramour. The allegations are that her alleged lover, Tim Mynett, received nearly $230,000 from her campaign since July of 2018. And these allegations were essentially made by Mynett's wife, who filed for divorce. And I want to read you the complaint, because this is one of these issues you won't hear about it anywhere else. Dear Chairman Skaggs, we filed it with the Office of Congressional Ethics, which is a body that supports the House Ethics Committee. Judicial Watch is a nonprofit, nonpartisan. Nonpartisan. You know what that means? Doesn't mean we're not conservative. It means that we're not Republican or Democrat. We're not a party group. Nonpartisan educational foundation, promoting transparency, accountability, and integrity in government and fidelity to the rule of law. We regularly monitor congressional ethics issues as part of our anti-corruption mission. This letter serves as a supplemental complaint to an official complaint that was filed with the Office of Government Ethics on July 22, 2019, relative to potential felonies committed by Representative Ilhan Omar involving tax fraud, marriage fraud, immigration fraud, and perjury, principally involving Representative Omar's possible marriage to her biological brother, presumably as part of an immigration fraud scheme. So that's the complaint I was talking about. In addition to those potential violations of law, new disclosures arising from civil litigation raised still more troubling allegations suggesting more potential violations of law or regulations by Representative Omar that require investigation. Specifically, in a divorce action, Dr. Beth Mynett of Washington, D.C. has accused her husband, political consultant Tim Mynett, of having an affair with Representative Omar, during which Mr. Mynett's firm, E Street Consulting LLC, and Mr. Mynett directly received nearly $230,000 from Representative Omar's campaign since July 2018. According to Dr. Mynett's divorce filings, quote, on reflection, defendant's more recent travel, that's her husband's, and long work hours now appear to be more related to his affair with Representative Omar than with his actual work commitments. The bulk of the proceeds paid to E Street, $175,371.40, were funneled to E Street after the November 2018 congressional elections, thereby calling into question the true purpose of the payments. Additionally, according to a complaint filed with the Federal Election Committee, Ilhan for Congress is another group, and forgive me, I forget the name of the group because they do good work. They had filed quickly an FEC complaint based on these allegations as well. So according to that complaint, Ilhan for Congress campaign filings with the FEC indicate that 8 disbursements were made to E Street Consulting totaling $21,546.94 for travel expenses. That's a lot of travel expenses. However, these expenses were not itemized as required by FEC regulations. You know, that raises a red flag. You usually hide some significant scandals sometimes in these seemingly podunk violations of the rules. House rules are quite specific about the improper use of campaign funds for personal expenditures. The Code of Official Conduct for the House of Representatives states, yes, they do have a code for official conduct in the House of Representatives. A member, delegate, or resident commissioner, A, shall keep the campaign funds of such individual separate from the personal funds of such individual. B, may not convert campaign funds to personal use in excess of an amount representing reimbursement for legitimate and verifiable campaign expenditures. And C, except as provided in Clause 1B of Rule 24, may not expend funds from a campaign account of such individual that are not attributable to bona fide campaign or political purposes. The House Rules of Conduct are also quite explicit about the seriousness with which Congress takes such violations to have allegedly occurred with respect to Representative Omar's conduct. The very opening of Rule 23, the Code of Official Conduct states, there is hereby established by and for the House the following Code of Conduct, to be known as the Code of Conduct. 1. A member, delegate, resident commissioner, or employee of the House shall behave at all times in a manner that shall reflect credibly on the House. As suggested by Dr. Mynett's court filings and the FEC complaint, these payments may represent campaign funds being used to allow Mr. Mynett to accompany Representative Omar in her travels for Representative Omar's pleasure, and thereby constitute campaign funds being used for personal expenses, in addition to expenses not being properly itemized, both serious violations of House rules, campaign finance regulations. We call upon the Office of Congressional Ethics to launch an investigation to Representative Omar's conduct immediately for both these potential violations and those enumerated in our earlier letter of July 22, 2019. Respondent Representative Omar has been provided with an exact copy of the filed complaint, all its attachments. Thank you for your consideration. Signed, me, on behalf of Judicial Watch. What do you think? Do you think Congress needs to investigate that? Do you think we laid out a serious set of claims that deserve investigation, both on the campaign finance and the potential marriage to her brother? What do you think? Now, I'm not just asking you that because, for rhetorical purposes, because I want you to share your thoughts with your members of Congress. Call them at 202-225-3121. That's 202-225-3121. Or you can send them an email or a letter, even better. Because nothing will be done unless you pressure them. Now, maybe something will be done, but my past experience suggests nothing will be done unless there's severe voter pressure on the House to hold Ms. Omar accountable for this alleged misconduct. Because the media isn't going to do it. As I said, she's protected. The establishment class is afraid to go after her because, as I said, she's protected. And the question is she going to be protected from the rule of law and basic ethics rules in the House? There's enough here between the marriage scandal and her campaign finance scandal, which, by the way, she denies everything. Without being specific, she denies everything. But there is enough evidence that if true, as the left likes to say, but this isn't just a jaywalking ticket. If true, if these allegations are pursued and confirmed, in my view, it would require her expulsion from the United States House of Representatives. Do you think that Ilhan Omar should be investigated to see whether she should be expelled or not? You've got to let your members of Congress know. Because I think these are pretty serious allegations. There are lots of ethics allegations against members of Congress, both Republican and Democrat, and we don't jump in on everyone or initiate everyone. But these are pretty darn serious. And the House Ethics Committee, is something that the Republicans are afraid to employ to hold their fellow members accountable, even if they're breaking the rules 6 ways to Sunday. For instance, we have 2 ethics complaints against Representative Adam Schiff, who's now the corrupt head of the Intelligence Committee for the Democrats. He improperly confirmed classified information. It looks like he was in improper contact with anti-Trump witnesses. So those were the bases for the 2 ethics complaints we filed. And, if there was a Republican who had done both those things, or had been credibly alleged to have done both those things. By the way, that ethics complaint about the mishandling classified information, the Ethics Committee has been sitting on silently, I think, for 2 years now. 2 years. Can you believe it? Well, I guess you can believe it. Congressman Schiff should not be head of the Intelligence Committee, at least until these issues are cleared up. And I think these issues will never be cleared up because if they are, quote, cleared up, they'll find him wanting ethically and he'll be removed. We also filed an ethics complaint against Maxine Waters for inciting violence against her political opponents. You remember she told people to confront members of President Trump's cabinet in gas stations and restaurants and such? Really inciting violence. Outrageous. Does that reflect credibly on the House of Representatives? Judicial Watch, believe it or not, had worked with Nancy Pelosi in 2006 and 7 to reform the House ethics process so that we could file complaints like this, so that there was this independent body, this Office of Congressional Ethics, that would vet these complaints in a more public and accountable way. And the problem for the Democrats is a lot of Democrats got caught up in that new process that Judicial Watch worked with Nancy Pelosi's office on. I told you we're nonpartisan. So what happened? Both parties shut it down. So if you think there ought to be no ethics enforcement in the House, don't do anything. If you think otherwise, you're going to have to take action as a constituent and a voter to let your members of Congress know. And Judicial Watch, we recognize the likelihood of success of these complaints. But someone's got to do something. Someone's got to say something. Should we just sit by silently as these members of Congress violate all the rules? Violate the law with impunity? No. Judicial Watch isn't going to shut down because the House Ethics Committee doesn't want to act. We're going to work to pressure them. And I hope you join us.